once again. Kevy, he's done it one more time.
The Chaos Storm! Claire jumps in with the Grand Slam! But in a three-man Moonfall, it's just lights out for Direwolves, just like that.
The showstopper. Look at the backline. It's getting melted.
Something right now, Sonic Wave is there, it's getting lower and lower. Oh! They've stolen it! Mammoth forgot the Baron! He's gonna fall on down! It's just too much damage! Rest in peace!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another week of the LCO. We're into week 7 now. We're done with the Super Weeks for the moment, and we're ready to get on into another bit of normal action. But the question is, what's normal? You know, not me, not you guys probably. What is normal? It's just a misconception. So it's just a 2-day week. Let's put it back to that. Now, before we jump on into it, let's have a look back at what happened last Wednesday.
Turning ugly as Tien spotted on the right side, Leeson now on the left, cataclysm anyway. He's sent backwards, but it doesn't matter. The Wombo in the pit. It's an absolute hot pot here from Peace. The needlework is applied through. Now that it's down, Pentanet all in once again. Falcon not from getting the kick flash. Gets it in the end anyway on top of Liv. Following forward, they're not running backwards. Pentanet all in. A double for Yuri. He flashes for the charm. Liv's next on the menu, boys. Pentanet comes in and a bit of an electric straight. Nobody getting spotted out. Another Kyose runs straight back in. Double distortion as well. In front of the juggler. That's clutch here from the Direwolves mid laner. Nobody once again just has to sit and listen. Zone orders jungler away. The rest of the team coming on in as Herald is stolen away. To make a death rocket onto Drashu. He flashes, trying to survive the Hextech ultimatum. Locks down Kissei. Kevy's going to be next on the menu, and Biopanther runs in with no mana. Tally cleaning up for the resets, and that shutdown means nothing on Corporal. A double.
And as per usual, we're going to be kicking off week 7 with Menulog Mealtime. So, to join me on Menulog Mealtime, we've gotten rid of a couple of faces you might have seen last week, and we've brought back in the good guns. We brought back Rusty, we brought back Skimmy. We'd love to have you here. Now, tell me, how was your weekend?
That was my weekend. It was fantastic, Mac, actually. You know, stuck inside, locked inside, self-confessed quarantine without the sickness, just playing games. You can't get much better than that.
Oh,
Isolating, yeah.
Love a little bit of isolation. What about you, Rusty?
I mean, honestly, much of the same, right? It's been a pretty crazy weather week, let's say, Mac. So a lot of time just spent indoors, getting away from the wet weather, primarily.
Yeah, pretty crazy, hey. We actually got some sun on the weekend. You love to see it. And I'll tell you what else you love to see. $30 on the table. You guys can win yourself a Menulog voucher if you type MENUPOG in the chat. So you've got a couple of minutes to do so. Make sure you MENUPOG in chat just on its own, and you can win that $30 voucher to use on Menulog, as long as you're in Australia. Now, while we wait for you guys to enter, you know, the golden question, all right, we're just ordering coffees today, okay?
Oh.
And you've got $30 worth, so you can make it as crazy as you want.
Oh.
How do you make coffee crazier than... I mean, okay, listen, Mac, I don't know about you, but I'm a simple man. Like, I just have a strong coffee, so...
Okay.
I feel like if I was to make it fancy, I'd just be adding shots in, would it not? Like, it's kind of how I operate.
Okay, so just like a large, long black without the actual added water, and it's just shots. It's just espresso shots to the
Just
top.
coffee. It's just a large,
Bouncing off the
long
walls.
espresso.
Okay.
It's
What about you, Skimmy?
Well, once upon a time, you know, I started off my life as a hot chocolate enjoyer, and then I graduated into adulthood, which I know can be a little bit deceiving looking at me, but I then decided, you know, caffeine might actually be a great addition to my life. So I then said, you know, forget about the hot chocolates. Now we're going for the mochas, the mochachinos. We're getting those out there. So I'm still a child at heart, but yeah, we need a little bit of sweetness. Why not?
Okay. What, are you using real sugar? Are you using the sweetener?
Look,
whatever it's
dentists
called?
hate me. They certainly do. They tell me brush twice a day, get the flossing out. I don't do that. I get in trouble. I go get my 6-month checkup, and yeah, it's all kind of headaches, isn't it?
What's your Starbucks order if you were to go fancy?
Well, I'm always just iced long black usually, but if I was to get fancy, probably just a double espresso. You know?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just-
Not a caramel
although
macchiato with almond
from-
milk and cream on top?
Nah. Maybe almond milk. I prefer that over normal milk. But also, if I went to Starbucks, I probably would have something like a long black because, you know, Starbucks coffee itself usually a little bit
Long
bitter
black's reliable.
from what I remember. So you don't want it too strong, or you'd have that espresso shot and you'd be...
I wonder what the biggest coffee in the world is. You know when you see those like massive as like wine glasses, which is just like, you know, a bottle and some going in.
Yeah, I'm just
Surely,
having one a day size.
oh, absolutely. Surely there's like a coffee mug which is as big as my head. Surely
Very
that's what I need.
Well, I've got a pretty big mug. I can send you some pics. I'll put it on Twitter. Maybe you guys at home can show us your coffee mugs. You know, make sure,
That's
or
my
your
mug.
mugs. Just send in a photo of your mug. Either way, we got to talk about the standings. So let's have a look where all the teams are sitting before we jump on into today's action. Skimmy, talk to me and
Yes.
tell me how good Chiefs are for already locking in that playoff spot.
Fantastic, aren't they? What a team. What a performance from them. One defeat only against Peace. Other than that, it's been business as usual for them. And they're taking down teams that are as close as we saw in Order. They're taking down teams all over the show. It just doesn't matter. They're a step above the rest. So, yeah, big congratulations to them. The only team so far that's locked themselves in. And we still got, what, another 3 weeks of gameplay. So, sitting pretty.
Sitting pretty indeed. Now, Rusty, anything you want to talk about? Of course, we still have that one tie between Mammoth and Kanga. Do you think that's going to change after today's game?
I mean, this is going to be one of those weeks, right, where a lot's going to have to change. It's do or die, basically, for Mammoth, for Kanga, for Direwolves to control the 5th place position as well. So there's a lot to look forward to in these coming weeks. I would say, as of today, it is officially crunch time for the LCO.
Yes, it is crunch time indeed. And let's have a look at who it's crunch time for, because there can be 1 or 2 teams maybe locking those spots in, depending on how today's results go. So here it is, 6 p.m. We got Order, we got Gravitas to kick things off for the day. 7 p.m. Mammoth and the Chiefs, 8 p.m. Kanga and Direwolves, and then to round things out, that one that a lot of people are keen for, Pentanet and Peace. Although that Direwolves Kanga game is definitely important. You want to know why? Because if Direwolves win and Gravitas lose, Gravitas are out. If Order win and both Mammoth and Kanga lose, Order secure playoffs. If PGG win and Mammoth lose, PGG secures playoffs. So that's where we are currently sitting, Skimmy.
We certainly are. Yeah, as you say, crunch time. It's really do or die for a lot of these teams, isn't it? Showcasing of what 7 weeks of growth looks like. Can they get themselves into that 5th and final playoff spot? Can the other teams, you know, get themselves into the upper brackets for those playoffs? And I always find it exciting because there's that slight blurred line of a team that has nothing to lose versus a team that is on the cusp of like a 5% chance of making it.
Yeah.
You know, who's going to be the scary team to face? That's what Rusty told me, and I think it's a very, very valid point.
Okay, well, let's have a look at how all of these teams did during the Super Weeks, because we had 3 of them. We had 9 games in 3 weeks, and all these teams had to slog it the whole way through. So here are the results. Look at Chiefs, 9-0, currently on this huge damn win streak, and I don't know if anyone's going to be able to chase them. Peace with 6-3. I think that's surprising for everyone, right, Rusty?
Yeah, I would say Peace 6-3 is very surprising when you consider they lost to 2 of the lower placed teams in the league, right? I believe it was Kanga and Gravitas, but Chiefs are even on a 10-win streak, rather, 9-0 through the Super Week, looking to probably continue that for the rest of the split, the way that they're currently performing. So many praises to give to Chiefs, but we'll talk about them more as we get into their games today. For Order and for Direwolves, I think this is actually the point that we look at, because right now it feels like we have a solid top 4 set, but Direwolves are only 1 game away from Order, and they even matched them through the Super Week, right? Through 9 games, they've gone the exact same in scoreline, so there's a real world. The Direwolves challenges Order for the 4th place spot and tries to get up closer to 3rd, because again, they're only 2 away from 3rd, and they had a very good Super Week.
Yeah, I could definitely see that happening. Skimmy, anything you want to touch on before we move along?
Yeah, just sort of quickly to add to that point as well, they're 1-1 tied of Order, so when they next face up, it's going to be very exciting, because every single time we've seen them, we've always said that Direwolves definitely have a shoe-in with things, but for the likes of Kanga, Mammoth, and Gravitas, you know, it's not a pretty picture. They found some momentum in some ways to start things off with. Maybe Kanga put in the latest bloomer of them all, but they've been changing things up. They've been looking a little bit stronger, but a big ask for them to take on Direwolves today. It's probably my game of the night.
Okay, well, you know, there could be something added to that game of the night, and it could be Renata, because even though we're on this new patch, she was disabled last weekend. She is joining us for week number 7 of the LCO. So, Rusty, there's a little bit of information on the screen here. Do you want to talk us through what this is?
Yeah, so Skimmy's done a lot of the research here on runes and perhaps items as well. So I'm just going to give a quick rundown of abilities, because not everyone will really know what Renata does, and most of her abilities are about 6 paragraphs long, so we'll try and give some like TLDRs, let's say. So basically, EWQ is the max order. The ultimate is very simple. It just turns people berserk and gives them attack speed, meaning that they'll attack their allies. They'll also get bonus attack speed during it. So it's a kind of double-edged sword, I think, if you can cleanse that one. But either way, it turns them berserk. It's a cool new mechanic. The E is the 2 rockets that come out from either side of Renata that hit the... It's a skill shot, right? That has a small effect radius when it lands. It does good damage. You max it first. The cooldown goes down significantly. What it also provides on arrival is a slow, and if it goes through an ally, it's a shield. So it does kind of everything, right? Like, it's just an ability that's really useful to have up all the time. And the target range is like 800, so it's still decently large and helps a lot for the laning phase. So I like the E max. W is what is max second. It's basically like the Zillion ultimate ability for anyone who doesn't know what the W does. It's called Bailout. It gives bonus attack speed and movement speed to the person it's cast on for the actual duration, but it has a second effect where if they take lethal damage, they're resurrected like a Scion passive, but a lot faster. However, if they successfully get a kill during that passive, they come back, which is insane. And in and of itself could be reasons that you see this champion in competitive back a little bit broken.
So it's similar in a way to like Akshan as well. They stole a couple of ideas from different abilities and just combined it into one whole thing, right?
Kinda, yeah. I would say it's more like if a Scion passive met a Zillion ultimate, perhaps.
Okay.
Is how I would look at it. So I think that's the best way to look at it. But yeah, you max that 1 second. It's a fairly long cooldown, and it does go down with levels. And so does the scaling on the attack speed up to 30%, so it's valuable. The handshake is the hook, but when the hook hits, you then get a second recast to choose the direction that you throw them. So really, you're throwing out a hand that grabs someone, and then you're throwing them in a direction. So it's not specifically a hook, it's just called one. You max this last, cooldown doesn't change, damage does go up, but it's kind of whatever. Stun duration, etc. doesn't actually change. There's no value in maxing that one.
All right, well, I'm confused already, and I can't wait to see you in the damn Rift. Skimmy, talk to me about these runes and this build.
Yeah, there's obviously a lot of discussion around what the best go-to is. I think on release, a lot of people are playing Summon Airy. Even some people are dabbling with the ideas of Arcane Comet. But as things have settled down a little bit with a brand new patch, sort of what we're seeing from the pros around the world, there's 2 clear favorites, either Glacial Augment or Guardian. Glacial Augment's just going to give you a little bit more lane bullying ability, right? Because as Rusty mentioned, your Q, your handshake, if you chuck that one out, they're pretty much immobilized. They really can't do much. The Frost Ray is going to be a little bit too much. That's a guaranteed burn flash, otherwise they're in so much trouble. So you've got to be a little bit more of a lane bully, guarantee some CC, guarantee some tempo. This seems to be the go-to option. Otherwise, Guardian. Renata, I feel like in concept functions a lot of the same way as the Lulu, right? You're giving themselves, or you're giving your AD carry a big buff, but Renata can spec to be a little tanky in that regard. So obviously Guardian's going to help out a fair bit in that if you do need to sustain. Same kind of weaknesses in terms of those lane matchups, because she is Renata at the end of the day still an enchanter. So you're going to be kind of terrified of the likes of Leona and Nautilus and so on. But into the Mythics, there was a big discussion initially around Imperial Mandate, because anytime you land CC, which as you can see from the kit, as Rusty mentions, is fairly straightforward. Combine that with Renata's passive, that's a lot of on-hit damage. It's a lot of burst, but players are now sort of favored either the Shrelius as the most prioritized item, otherwise in some cases going for the Locket for a bit of protection and peeling. Shrelius is pretty insane because you just give your AD carry in a meta which is all about, the Aphelioses and Jinxes, just so much movement speed, so much pop-off potential. And then finally with the items, it seems to be that the go-to after that first Mythic is either Chemtech, Putrifier, or Redemption. There has been a bit of deviation, if your AD carry's popping off, Russian Ardent Sensor, if you've got a lot of AP scaling, then you go for perhaps the Staff of Flowing Waters, but Zone Use has been a bit of a shout-out as well, sometimes even Frozen Heart too. Players aren't afraid to go the more tanky route if required, but certainly a strong champion. I don't know if it's going to be busted as such, but in the right draft, might come out.
Okay, so quickly before we move along, we're seeing her as a support more so than anywhere else, right?
Yeah. She's a support main champion.
Okay, and that's her viability in competitive. Cool. And
100%.
I wonder if we'll see her today. I guess we'll find out once we get to draft. But look, I want to hear from you guys at home. You guys have been cooking some good stuff up in the kitchen. I heard we've already got submissions, but of course, it is draw, paint, or create a picture of your favorite item and send it in at LCO or drop the old hashtag LCO as well. If you just put it up as a post, we'll see it, we'll use it, we'll put it up, we'll show off your beautiful creativity, because you guys last week were painting up a storm in real paint and fake paint and Photoshop and wherever else you bloody done it, and it looks like we've got a bit of paint coming through straight away from the big man Tyres. So that's a graveyard, but is it a ability? Is it an item?
Dude, I have no idea what I'm looking at.
Is this like
Oh, wait.
to stone or?
No. So what's the thing on the gravestone? Is it an item that's disappeared before?
I am struggling to come up with an item that looks like that off the top of my head. And maybe it's because it's not in a square box.
Yes.
But whatever it is, it's obviously a gone item. It's not Philo Stone, it's not Heart of Gold,
Is it like a blue
Avarice Blade or
smite?
anything.
Is it the blue smite item?
Could be
anyway,
a spirit
that
of
was
the
awkward.
Lizard
Thanks,
Eldar.
Tyres, for putting us on the spot like that. We're going to move
know.
into the next one.
Yep.
What do we
is
got?
that?
What's going on? Tyres, please send another one with words. It'd be lovely. All right, that there's Luden's Minute Glass in it. So that's
Oh,
what
we're getting the innits out
we
nice
reckon.
nearly, are we?
JB.
Bro, what?
Definitely with a.
You know,
Hourglass
did you guys know
of
that
some
before Zonia's Hourglass, it was Zonia's ring?
Was
How
it?
long ago
It
are we
was a
talking?
death cap and a Zonia's in one item.
Hey, old man, can you just pretend you haven't been playing the game for 10 years?
I could
12
pretend,
years?
but why would we bother?
When was this?
Use that knowledge. You're pretty damn good at it.
This is the
Now,
beginning of the game, season 1?
That
Or
was
season
yeah.
okay.
Wow.
So I think the bar has been set relatively low this week. So if you guys at home want to put some work in to make it something look a little bit pretty,
Maybe an item we can recognize. That's all I want.
Yes.
Just draw an old item that we can recognize and guess. I still don't know what Tyres drew. It's
please. Or just keep it trivial, and we can keep on guessing and hoping that we find it. Either way, we're going to start to talk about the first game of the day. That's going to be Order and Gravitas. So let's talk Order first. They've been a little bit rocky. They've got that 5-4 win rate over the Super Weeks, similar to Direwolves. So we really need to see a little bit more from them. I think they have that hard run going in to the start of each round. So look, going up against Gravitas here, it should be one of the easier ones, but we'll see if they can lock it down, Skin.
We will, because, there's a moment, a glimmer of hope where you're thinking they've finally found the formula, the recipe for success, the ideas, the pop-up potential from different individuals on different occasions. But, looking at the last 8 games, it's kind of like win-loss, win-loss, win-loss. There is no streak to really talk about. There is that constant nagging feeling of there is the consistency that they're struggling to try and find. You're not too sure really where to turn the attention towards. Is it a case of best of ones not being their flavor? Is it a case of trying to stick to meta, maybe not utilizing pocket picks enough? We've obviously talked at great lengths as to how many pocket picks these individuals have. So excited to see where they can go, but a must-win game for them, no doubt, to try and upset the apple cart of Gravitas, but also to keep other teams like Direwolves hot on their heels.
I still want to see an upset apple cart. If someone could please, draw that and send it in, I'd accept that as an item. But Rusty, talk to me about Gravitas.
The Gravitas have actually brought back Piglet into the main roster today. It is still going to be nobody playing in the jungle role, and that does mean that Tyron will be staying in top lane. Piglet, however, has been subbed back in without and Trust. So this whole split up until this point, they've been a duo in bot lane, right? Piglet and Trust, then you had Thomas and Vixpa. I think this is the first time that we've actually seen those duos split up. Now, originally, I would have said I cannot come up with a single reason why I would be playing Thomas Shen and Vixpa over Piglet and Trust. But I do think that Piglet has been so far statistically proven that he can do the same amount of work as Thomas Shen with less resources given. So I'm very interested to see how Gravitas does perform with that in mind. But as you can see, Mac, last time these two teams did face each other, as is often the way with a lot of Gravitas games as of late, it was quite a one-sided affair.
Yeah, I think I remember this game specifically because of clips like that where Puma was just completely untouched. Like, his positioning in these team fights just allowed him to do so much damn damage just sitting there.
That one.
This was that Ashe game as well, so
Yeah.
look, Caster's cursing even in the replays there, Rusty.
No. They hard won laning phase with the Ashe. It was 11-1. That was his one death, but the rest of the team was too strong by this point. It was a monster performance from Puma, and I think that's the only Ashe we've had.
It was, yeah. It was also the game where Bio dies to Baron, right? So
It was too.
we don't want to talk about that one too much.
Don't we?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to bring it up because, production haven't put the clip on the screen, right? So we want to make sure that he's always humble by that one. But, yeah, that was the first Ashe game. We're thinking, maybe it's a return to, a deviation of the meta. but it popped off.
Yeah, maybe. Now, what are we expecting from this mid lane matchup? Because you're looking at De Jong, man's just been absolutely popping off over the last couple of weeks and really trying to put Gravitas on his back. Not only is he doing the carrying, for the most part, he's also doing the calling too. And are we expecting something different? Now, like, they've gone for the roster swap yet again here, Rusty, but is that going to be the key to success, especially with a, I wouldn't even say in-shape order?
I think it's the best decision they could have made, switching the AD role. I mean, maybe I just have a slight bias towards Piglet as an AD, perhaps, but Darjung's been playing super well, and Piglet, in the games that he was playing, has proven that he can carry, right? Like, he was the Jinx that was getting it done while the rest of his team was struggling in the scrappy game against Mammoth.
Yeah.
So Piglet, I do have a bit of faith in, and I think that adding him to the list does give an extra dynamic to Gravitas, where before, as you can see, it is Darjung versus the world, as it has been all Super Week.
Yeah, he just is absolutely insane. So, look, I guess head-to-head, going up against Kisei. Do we expect him to win today, Skimmy? Because I feel like Kisei's performance, like, he's just been so inconsistent all split so far.
It's possible. It is possible. I would love to see De Jong actually match him in lane, and so I want to go for those 1v1s, take you on. He's got a whole host of solo kills, which is very impressive in a rookie split, but I'd like to see him go for those champions that allow him to be aggressive. I'd hate for him to be relegated to something like a TF or a Galio or even a Kiana and be told either snowball or you lose or just go roam and back me up elsewhere. I'd love to see him just play the champions like the Ahri, like the Akali, Ryze, whatever it might be, and say, you know, let's have a fight in mid lane. Let's see what we can do. If I beat you, if you don't want to entertain the idea, if you're maybe scared, then I will win on two different fronts. So certainly the key to victory.
Yeah, it certainly is. Now, what are we looking at, like, in terms of the junglers? Of course, we have nobody jungling for Gravitas at the moment. But going up against Kevy, I feel like that's a little matchup, Rusty, where Kevy's going to win every day of the week.
Yeah, Kevy has a lot going for him in this matchup, Mac. One of them being his pocket picks, his unique picks that he can provide, and those are the types of intangibles that no jungler can match. Where I feel like nobody's matching it right now with Trundle, and then we don't know what else. Like, if you think back to last Super Week, Mac,
yeah.
we saw the Trundle banned. I think we saw one other jungler banned, and then he defaulted to Olaf in one of the worst Olaf drafts possible, and was running at a 0-10 angle just because he had no champion pool. So it's rough out here being nobody.
It really is. Now, it's rough out here if you don't have Kitty on the desk. So let's make sure we bring her back in and get her involved in the conversation. Kitty, how you doing?
Hello, happy Monday, everyone. You know, I'm excited for another week of LCO, and I'm sure someone who's happy being first game of the week is Corporal, so let's bring him in for the interview. Hey, Corporal, so we just met in Clash last night. How have you been?
Oh yeah, we did meet actually. I kind of got destroyed in the Enchanter matchup, so good job to you, I guess.
I was the better Meow Meow gamer. This is an inside joke, please don't cringe, guys. But let's talk about your game tonight. So from games throughout the split, we've seen Order have really good performing games. All players on Order have been capable of carrying each teammate. So entering the last round robin, what is your ideal result for the regular split?
I think realistically, or what I expect from us finishing this round robin is I want to finish the split with at least under 10 losses. So I think like around 12 to 13 wins is what I would expect. And I think after that we can do some damage in playoffs.
Well, I didn't expect you to come up with a win. I was expecting more like a position or ranking in the standings, but that's okay. 12 wins is what we're aiming for. Third place. Okay, well, upper bracket is what everyone wants. Good, best of luck. But let's talk about support builds. So we've actually talked about the efficiency of building Zhonya's second on those engaged supports, where you've actually never completed a Zhonya's in a stage game. So given these circumstances where supports never generate enough gold before the game ends, is it ever worth being hard stuck on a Seekers over another component?
Yeah, I have seen that. Except I think the way the games are playing out, it's usually like after my recall, like we get Baron and then we end the game. So I think that's a big issue. And also I did tell my team, I actually heard your statistic, by the way, the previous week, and I told my team not to end the game. I said, please wait like 5 seconds. I need to go base and get my Zhonya's. And then as I was clicking my Zhonya's, we ended the game. So I'm still hard stuck in Seekers actually.
Well, hopefully you're no longer hard stuck Seekers after tonight's game. Hopefully we do see you getting these Zhonya's finally. Well, best of luck, Corporal, and have fun.
Thank you.
Good to hear from him, and how broke he is as a support. Now, I feel like a couple of the people on the desk here have been in that position. Rusty, anything to touch on in regards to that?
Get Zonias at all costs over Mythic if necessary. That's my play. But I'm not in a pro league, so I am maybe abusing the fact that my support passive still generates gold to get the Zonias, and then not having a support item Mac. A bit cheese.
Very true. And then also, you know, it's just in normal games go longer, so you eventually get there, right? That's the whole thing. Now, look, let's talk about the fan vote. You guys put your bloody Twitch points in, get them on a team one way or the other, and you can take part in the Dare fan vote. So thank you all for doing that. But look, I love you, I really do, and I care about where you're going to put your points, but I care more about how the prediction's going. So let's have a look at what we think is going to happen here in the game. Skimmy, talk to me. Why have you gone with Gravitas?
Well, I haven't, Mac, unfortunately. You know, I have dogged the boys on this occasion. I've been a big fan of what Gravitas have done, especially with Dejong. But on this occasion, I think it's a bit of a uphill battle. Both teams are under a lot of pressure. Gravitas to try and keep themselves in the running of playoffs, order to make sure that they continue, you know, being in a playoff spot with other teams hot on their heels. But I think if you're looking at them pound for pound, Kevy's just going to have a field day in that jungle matchup. And the trade-off and constantly changing around that bot lane 2v2 is just going to give too much agency for Puma and Corporal to pop off.
Look, I don't know if you can see that Gravitas logo, but it looks like a Twitch logo, and that's because I'm going with the Dare fan vote. So, you know, I said I didn't care about what you guys thought, but I actually do. I was trying to set it up to be funny here. So if you could all laugh and type haha in chat, then I'll know that you found it really funny. Kitty, talk to me. You haven't had your say on the matchup yet. How do you think this one's going to go, and why have you picked order?
Well, I respect the Daredevil vote for the Twitch chat Mac, but we have gone with order. Well, most of us have gone with order tonight because Puma and Kevy are just kind of unstoppable. So I'm just expecting a really clean game coming out of order.
Okay, and I feel like, look, I'm giving order probably like 80, 75% here. I'm saying 75 only because of like this inconsistency, right? And Gravitas, last week they looked good, right, Rusty?
There was moments, yeah. I mean, Gravitas continue to do this to us. They'll look good on like day one of the week, and then they'll lose that that performance as the days progress through the weeks. But yeah, I feel like order may be inconsistent, but they have to be super inconsistent today to really cop the L convincingly. But Gravitas with a lead did look solid now.
They really did. Now, Kitty, talk to me. We're talking supports. You got to chat with Corporal, but at the same time, he's going up against Vixpa, who's now laning with someone he's not used to. So how do you see the support matchup going down in that bot lane?
Vixpa is the one that plays the Enchanters, I believe, more than Entrust. Wait, actually, no, Entrust is the one that plays... Yeah, Entrust is the one that plays Enchanters, and Vixpa is the one that plays the roaming supports. That kind of matches Corporal, so it will be kind of a handshake in the bot lane, but I do believe that Corporal does execute those ganks and roams a lot better. But changing supports with your ADC when we have seen the previous bot lane being a duo is going to be a really big difference and change for Gravitas, so I don't know how they're going to actually adapt for this game.
Okay, and look, the looming question before we jump on into Champ Select. Talk to me. Are we going to see Renata? Is this the matchup where it happens, or are we going to maybe see it slide through later on in the day? Because that's why I was asking about the supports, right? If we don't have either that really want to be playing that Enchanter, is there like that much of a chance?
Kitty mentioned this before. She hasn't seen many people playing it. I haven't seen many people playing the Renata as well, full stop. But we haven't seen any of their scrims, so it's hard to actually know, you know, if someone's got the games in, put the hours down on it.
Yeah.
Renata has potential in general, but even in other regions with Renata enabled, like the LPL, she was seen from like one team on the entire day, and no other team even touched her in pick ban. So I think you have to be really keen to pick up new champions and get it done really quick to want to play it.
Okay, well, look, arguably, that one pick came through. Did it work? Was it a win for the team?
No, it was a 0-5.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe that's enough to scare a lot of these teams away. So, look, what are we going to see? Are we going to see, you know, Ash picked up by Puma again, or are they not going to let that through? Or are we still just, you know, leaning on... He's got a relatively decent champ pool, Puma, and makes every champ he picks up look so damn good.
It does, right? And I just love it. I'm always obsessed with the idea of him playing champions like Vayne or Ashe or Varus or anything that allows him to say, we're going now on my terms, rather than sort of waiting for everybody else to do the job for him, right? It's been a definite meta of not going to jinx Aphelios, go to sleep, wake up, and maybe something happens. But, you know, even Azeri, for instance, you know, any champion that allows him to showcase his mechanics, he's going to excel in. And I think it really has been the story of the split, right? The teams that are better AD carry for the most part will come out ahead.
I think that's pretty spot on. Now, look, it's National White Chocolate Day today, so
Ooh.
I'm thinking I might order something off Menulog while I'm waiting. I might get some kind of. Does Macca's have anything white chocolate related? I don't think they do.
I don't think so,
I
no.
don't think so.
No.
But Mac, I do have something to talk about. Well,
Yes.
it's about Renata again. I didn't actually get to follow up from from Rusty's point. I don't think Renata is very popular right now because of the meta jungler. So we have the Gwen, we have the Xinjiao. I've played Renata before. I had to go up against a Gwen jungle. I believe it was Kevy. Shout out to Kevy, you know, destroying me in solo queue. But when Gwen goes immune and when Xinjiao goes immune, your ulti is just absolutely useless. So, you know, you already are so immobile on that champion. When a Gwen pops the ghost, you're just doomed. So that's why I believe the champion's so weak.
Probably red side last pick, right? Like if you're going to have a real Renata game, you want to make sure that they've picked a comp that you can handle, because there's so many things that can deal with it.
Now I'm just browsing the days that it is today and the weeks, and look, it's it's National Feet Week, so I'm going to leave you at that because Champ Select is ready. Let's jump on into game number 1 for the day.
God, I'm glad Champ Select was ready.
Oh, no. Cover your
So
feet,
glad.
Mac. That's maybe another market stream for you to explore during the interval here. As we jump into pick and ban phase. Thank you very much for joining us here, week 7 of the LCO. We're out of Super Weeks, back to your regular scheduling, and back to seeing we'll ask some very regular bans.
Good to have you back as well, Skimmy.
Thank you.
Yeah, back into this one. We do need the regular Coach Wrangler back in action. So just looking at the bans that we've got down so far. Order attacking Piglet.
Yeah.
Pretty aggressively right now. Jinx and Zeri, 2 big champions for him. To no one's surprise, on the side of Gravitas, they're going to be banning away the Evelyn and the Diana. So 2 big heavy champions. Also 2 magic damage junglers, which is the type of bans that I guess are really trying to force Kevy to like physical jungle champion. Perhaps that's more of a comfort zone for nobody if he's a Trundle player. But also note that they haven't banned away his jungle champion pool this week at all, right? It is just going to be the Ahri, which is a good ban in the 2 AD.
Certainly is. And we're talking also about what the Ahri pick could offer, if they wanted some pick potential, what's going to be taken off the table. Tahm Kench 2, which is always an interesting one, given that it's become stronger and stronger by the minute. Rise now is going to get locked in. This is what you love to see right at the gates. Forget about the AD carries. Let's just give ourselves a very strong matchup with mobility to press and push forward.
Yeah, Rise, honestly, Rise probably is a PB champion right now. Like, if it's not banned, it should just be picked 100% of the time. I think it's just too valuable. Has priority in too many lanes. If you play well with the jungler, right, you get to be super aggressive, you get a lot of first move from your lane and jungle role. It gives you really unique gank pathing. It also means, right, that if you have a bot lane that is pushing, you can dive. If you have a bot lane that is losing, your priority will keep their lane a little bit more in check, you know? So I think just having the Rise in like a winning jungle matchup, whether it's a Xinjiao, whether it's a Volley Bear, if they pick like a Lee Sin, you go like Trundle, right? Like there's so many options that are there to make that 2v2 winning.
Well, look at that though. Certainly Kissei saying, I'll hit you with that handshake. If you're going to lock that one nice and early, I'm going to lock in my Irelia for the first time this year. It's a champion that we've seen play in the past, so it's really what his archetype will set up to be, right? An aggressive mid laner. And he's going to say, well, you can look to try and roam, but not if I just kill you.
Yeah, and I feel like this is one of the first times we've seen true agency given to Kissei just by default, you know? Like this is him saying, even if the Aurelia is a flex, this is Kissei saying, I'm carrying. And I feel like most of this split, it hasn't really been truly down that path. This is one of the first few times. There was a Yasuo game, you know, there was a Zoe game in there, so a couple more enchanters lately, but I think we're going more and more down the Kissei wants to carry path.
Seems to be the case. But what is interesting right now is that Nami hover, which you'd imagine is going to get changed. Otherwise, what are they cooking up here? Yes, going to be the Ezreal instead. Would have seemed very bizarre, quite honestly, Rusty. You know, with the amount of AD carries removed already, you're looking to try and target Piglet's champion pool that much further, so he's going to give himself a little bit of chance to try and dart around the map and not get locked down.
And Akarthus goes with it. So you see the Eve, you see the Diana bans. Kevy still finds a way to pick a mage jungle champion, and Karma going to be banned because the Ezreal was locked in third. So I think Gravitas have made a small blunder here in their draft phase. I think the Ryze being locked means that the Karma Ezreal, if they weren't going to be picked together, maybe shouldn't have been picked at all. Picking the Ezreal gives away the Karma ban. They could consider something like the Lulu, but I think now that the Karma's gone, you're starting to go down more of the Nautilus path anyway for Vixpa. We'll see which path he chooses to take, but I guess like a weak side Ezreal, you know, just giving less resources to that. Playing Ryze to top lane perhaps could be the way to go.
Yeah.
Doesn't really feel like a Gravitas thing though, does it?
No, it doesn't. It certainly doesn't. And I feel like they were stuck in a bit of a pending decision of, well, we need to lock this trundle in. We need to guarantee that nobody has at least something to work with here. And we'll just take whatever we can get when it comes to that bot lane pairing. Tryndamere going to be removed as well, so no chance of any split push shenanigans or any pop-off potential in that regard. Question now goes to Gravitas. What do they ban? Do they continue to go down the route of banning out these supports fresh? Already gone. Do they now go for Corporal's Leona? No. Graves instead.
I like this because red side fourth pick, right, for Order is presumably going to be a top lane blind pick champion. And I think Graves is just the best in slot right now. Graves just going to be easily taken away by Gravitas. And I think Thresh Aphelios gone. There's just plenty of options there for an Aphelios lane now. That's just the one combo, so they'll remove that. For Biopanther top side, the question is, does he just go the Gnar? Does he go the Gragas? You know, Graves is gone. Gnar has a lot better of a time being blind picked with the Hullbreaker builds available. Iron has not been known to see a Gnar and think I'm playing an Aurelia type champion myself. He'll probably, I'm guessing, just go set. I don't know what else Tyrant plays. Gragas.
Wants to go, yeah, like the Gragas, the Set, the Jace. Those would be the options that spring to mind imminently. But no, he's going to go for the GP instead. Match globals with globals. And yeah, certainly hope that if there is an area that they're targeting, it's a Realm Warp, it's a Pillar, it's a Cannon Barrage.
Yeah, the Cannon Barrage actually sets this up for bot pressure. So I'm definitely still wondering what they're going to be picking here. They're not red side, so the support isn't going to be countered. It is Order who has the counter pick. And so you can't go like a Blitzcrank, you know what I mean? So like this is kind of the predicted path
He just
here.
defaults, doesn't he?
Yeah, so we go to the Nautilus that we called and we expected. Gangplank can be played towards and it can be considered strong in its matchup. I think, you know, Sheen Spike into Mini Gnar does a lot of work. It's hard for the Mega Gnar stun combos to come through. But Ezreal Nautilus isn't always actively played towards, and Ryze is not exactly like a gank mid off cooldown like a Sylas type champion. So Gravitas have me really confused, Scheme, on where I'm going to see them path and play towards.
Yeah, because at least once we've seen nobody make his introduction into the jungle, he has put a lot of emphasis on forgetting his own individual leads by farming and camp clearing, but much more just going towards mid and getting Dajing ahead. Now, in this scenario, as you rightly point out, do they just flip the script and say, we are now, for the first time in this split, playing towards Tyrant, get his involvement in this game, make sure this GP is a real threat to contend with, because otherwise you're really banking on the idea of Piglet getting solo experience and able to go toe-to-toe with Puma.
I'm unsure how priority goes in the mid lane matchup. I feel like Ryze would get priority, but Aurelia has kill threat, and then, like, you know, if she wins one good trade, suddenly it's impossible to have that priority as Dajung. So if things go in a standard manner, you would expect Ryze has push, bot's just kind of even farming, and top is harassing, but not going hard on the push path yet. So for me, I feel like it's play around mid priority and actually take out Kevy. Probably the best course of action here for Gravitas. Maybe look for some jungle invades. Maybe even start the game off with an invade. Not force a level 1, but maybe even a late invade. I don't know, it's risky.
That could be the case, right? I mean, we've... last time we saw Kevy play this one, it was all the way back in July of last year with the Carfus. He certainly had his pocket picks available to him, but this one seems to be the relegation. If you target me, this is what comes out for AP. Gwen was there, but decided against it. He wants to hit those fat Requiems and obliterate the game. Lots of skill checks across the board here, you have to say, but it feels like Order, once again, you know, pound for pound, if they just play standard, it would look like they would just have an innate advantage.
Yeah, it definitely feels like, I mean, this is going to be a skill check game. One thing that we can say about Order that we have noted from a lot of their past drafts, they have the burden of execution they put on themselves. You know, it's not straightforward 5v5 comps. There was that one Malphite comp that we saw from them for sure. You know, like they did have that one time they played Wombo, but this time it's Aurelia, it's Karthus, it's Gnar as well. You know, there's a lot of skill shot reliance there. Puma and Aphelios, high skill champion. most people comfortable on him now, but so they have made execution a bit harder for themselves, but in general, I suspect that if Kevy's able to protect top lane, or if Kisei can win some early trades, bot should just be doing fine, and they'll have a pretty good time through early laning phase.
Well, let's see how the game plan does in fact play out. It is week 7. Do or die here for Gravitas. With only 2 wins to their names. This is a must-win match. As for Order, a win to keep them in the running, keep themselves safe in 4th position. Well, let's check in with the coaching staff, and welcome back for week 7 coach series from the side of Order. And talk things through, because as we mentioned, you know, it is that elimination game for Gravitas tonight, so obviously a lot of pressure on them in particular, but you know, you guys specifically, what kind of measures have you put in place to try and prevent an upset?
Yeah, look, I think that in general, upsets occur when there's a lot of, not necessarily volatility in the game, because as, you know, like Rusty mentioned, skill checks are, there's going to be a lot of skill checks prevalent here, but we should be favored just given our player base, but also when they have like a lot of comeback mechanics. So that's hence we're playing something with Karthus involved to give us a lot of scaling into the game. We have a lot of early pressure on objectives. The goal is to stack objectives and just prevent them from having any opportunity at all to come back.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I had to ask the follow-up question to that point. You know, what would you, as a coach, find scary to try and prepare for a game in a situation like this when Gravitas are on the cusp of being eliminated, or going up against a team when they have already been eliminated with nothing to lose?
Yeah, definitely going up against a team that has nothing to lose. Like, take it from me, right? Obviously, I coached Legacy last year, and we had all sorts of crazy games, depending on the game state. And you know, I know from the experience at our draft meetings, based on our standings and stuff, people would just be willing to do whatever. You know, might get them that win, whatever they've been practicing, whatever they think is good, something you saw on Reddit. Really, it's super unpredictable, but whereas, you know, they drafted very standard. We saw a lot of what was coming, and we had our responses well planned, so pretty happy with how it turned out.
Happy days, no nervous sweats to worry about on this occasion. Well, wish you boys the best of luck to start off this new week, and hopefully it ends with a win.
So, cheers.
Nothing to report on just yet, Skimmy, other than we know that a team with nothing to lose is probably the scariest team to play against. Just a quick recap of draft, and to summarize it quickly in this game. Kind of like what Seri said, they do have a lot of scaling into the game, even if it's an even game state. The Karthus does wonders. Aurelia can provide some side lane pressure with the Gnar. They have a lot of creativity that they can do as well, but it is an Ignite on Kisei, so he wants much more lane pressure. Kevy has gone for the first strike on his Karthus as well, so he's definitely about that money generation. That's something to keep in mind. I don't know if we'll see the full solo queue, just press R when you hit level 6 for 100 gold type of strat, Skimmy, but it's certainly possible.
It's satisfying, isn't it, though? Just a quick, cheeky cash loan. You're just saying, oh, you know what? I'm playing for myself this game, boys. I am the AP carry on this team. I need to get farmed and fed. There's nobody going to pop his head in here. Look to pick up the first crab of the game. He's going to be spotted out here by Corporal, laying down a ward of his own, but you're waiting for that initial moment, that parving that secures that first blood. It's the I've based and I can't afford a control ward ult. I have a control ward and 25 gold bonus. Classic Karthus tech. Yeah, look, to quickly hit on what we talked about in draft on Gravitas' comp as well, it does feel like ultimately we've got three losing lanes, or 3 weak side type lanes, right? Like an Ezreal Nautilus is often more about the Nautilus leaving lane than the strength of their 2v2. Ryze isn't about hard winning lane. It is very good for push and dueling, but it's not really about winning 1v1 like an Aurelia. And Gangplank's very rarely picked to be played towards. Even now, Into the Gnar matchup is down, you know, a sizable amount of CS because the waves are building and crashing. So he might be able to collect, you know, 4 or 5 extra of that missing CS back, but Fire Panther's just going to play the waves and get through the difficult part of laning phase. And actually, the longer that you keep the Gangplank in lane presently, the better off you'll be. Because if he's able to get a cheater recall off for a Sheen purchase, that really hurts a Gnar that hasn't based. So doing well so far from the side of Order by simply existing. But Gravitas, I'm not sure what they do beyond existing, to be honest. Well, would they exist much longer here? There's the question. On Vision, Kevy pops his head into bot lane, says hello. Big wave to crash, double stacked up. The wall's going to come on down, no doubt about it, but then Corporal flashes forward with the Glacial Augment, locks him in place. Here's the Ignite, and Emote with the glass to say, that was a pretty good first blood.
Yeah, really well done actually by the side of Order. Going for the flash Q hit from Corporal guarantees that the stun combo will be there. So they are able to follow that up one nicely. I mean, it was actually buffered with a dash from Piglet. Tries his best to survive, but at the end of the day, he's just going to be dashing away from Leona, who still has that Zenith Blade to throw out, and they are still going to get themselves a nice first blood. Huge for the lane of bot lane for Order, right? Is because it was a wave was crashing at the exact same time. Extra minions go awry.
Doesn't get much better as well if you are looking at the Summoner's burn as a result of that one exhausting ignite on the side of Gravitas, only to match that of Corporal, who all-in, and Puma has everything available on his own. So, no doubt another sore point of pressure as Kisei could find himself in trouble, dashing furiously with the Blade Surge to make sure he's got HP again. And he goes once more, looking for it and finds it. Gonna die to the turrets. It's ramped up and ready to burn. And it will be Dejong that gets to trade back with that kill.
Yeah, mid laner of Gravitas getting the kill there is crucial. He's also going to be able to stay on wave and try and push this one in. Kevi, from the looks of it, is going to catch it at the very least. So minions don't go missing from Order. Kevi, sorry, not Kevi, Kisei just decides that he wants to fight, right? And then he sees the moment that Corporal wants to go back in and chooses really actively, Skimmy, that this is going to be a 1-for-1. Because he flashes forwards to get lethal. And perhaps it's because he committed the ignite and then the flash was going away. He's like, I mean, we're this far.
Might as well kill confirm. Well, he guaranteed it. And certainly, the fireworks only, what, 5 minutes into the Swan for him to get excited about. But yeah, great start for him there, no doubt about it. Also to see a cheeky hook thrown out here by Vixper. His 5th game now on the Northwest. We were talking about it a bit in the drafting phase, right? What was the difference between himself and Entrust? He's only got a handful, literally 1 game apiece than any other champion apart from this one. And we were a little bit critical of it at the very beginning of the split, but I feel like he's certainly found a little bit more confidence as things have gone on.
Yeah, I definitely think he's found more confidence with just, willingness to throw hooks and recognizing windows where he should be throwing hooks above all else. That bot lane trade there was Order trying to hold and freeze the minions in front of their turret. They still do so, but the transaction was half of the health of Corporal, right? So refillable potion will be his saving grace there, but it is going to be all stacks used. Still, it does mean that Order have control of bot lane. It's just a nice trade from Piglet and Vixper.
Mid-tax has been paid, so you can farm my way, but I'll take those blue buffs, thank you very much. Kevy, not going to be as considerate. He wants to be farming up a storm.
I think it was old Order, which is why it's funny that we're going to talk about this now. Hit a point where, oh, hang on.
Oh, good little buffer there from Vixper, as Corporal certainly saw red. On towards this Ezreal, but Vixper's copping all the damage, acting as that bodyguard. Out comes the Requiem. Is that lethal? It certainly is! But Puma's going to pay the price for it, and this is the pressure that Arise brings to the table. Yes, fantastic Realm Warp, and nobody in hot pursuit.
It still ends up just being a trade overall. I mean, the Rise and the Trundle get down there super fast, right? They're able to get there, not during the fight, but just in time to make sure that both kills were going to be secured. But it is being done while there is a Drake just being completed in front of the Rise ultimate. This is still right in their face. Still going to be a trade from the side of Order and making sure nothing's free. Nobody.
Oh no, he's been body blocked. He's got no flash. He's got nowhere to run. He's dashed it and nearly took out nobody, but the Triumph is just enough to cancel out that ignite. Oh, what a crazy 1-for-1 that would have been.
Don't you dare die to them.
Run away, nobody, please. No. No!
Oh my god, after all the...
What's going on? It's chaos on my screen. True shot barrage, nearly one-shot Kevy. Puma's going to answer back with the red and white, which we know all too much about. Ooh, close there with the Moonlight Vigil. And everybody just needs to take a second to breathe.
Yeah, nobody trying to hit Raptors perhaps forgot that the big one wasn't there or didn't know. Either way, didn't have smite for the camp, so just ran and almost died. Smited the red. Surprise, there's a fight bottom and you're there. And it's just a bunch of chaos. I mean, 1 HP on Kevy when he's able to get himself out of there. Very squishy still to cast this early on, as you would expect. It is designed to be so. But because the kill didn't come across, there's no 150 shutdown guy in the way of the Ezreal. They would have liked that. That would have brought their lane back to even. Not to be seen. So it still is just ball in the Order court. Slight gold advantage. Gravitas really just putting in good work, but only as a way to keep up.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if we break down that passage, which was rather prolonged, would still be ordered trading up ahead. You know, 1 to 1.5. You know, it is a fact of Kevy being so accelerated, so much individual farm. He's got a kill, he's got the bounties you highlight, got the Dark Steel. Already with 5 stacks as well, so he's going to be very content with this one. Nice sidestep from Dejong. Now Corporal was willing to go for that one. Now to hear 6 as well, but they are claiming more and more of this map.
And we did say, Jimmy, and this was echoed by the coach of Order, that there'd be a lot of skill checks. Kisei has died with one of those skill checks, and I think we might have to hold this conversation depending on how Gravitas play this, but numbers advantage belongs to Order. This would be a very curious contest.
Vision cleared out. Now Piglet is not there. That was his true shot barrage. That's his only contribution. Down goes the cannon barrage. It's a 1-for-1 so far. Kevy still alive and picking up his 3rd kill of this game. Requiem is there, but nobody's low enough. Making this back off and pick up this Herald.
Yeah, and the contest just didn't need to exist from Gravitas, right? You've got top wave to crash, you've got bot wave getting plates for Piglet. Puma missing on the map, I mean, should just be a giveaway that they'll have numbers there at the fight, so you just disengage, you back away. Just quickly to this mid skirmish while it is on our screen as well. It's a skill check. Oh, he's in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, no, is he going to die for this one? I believe he's just gone. As soon as you miss that stun, Dejong answers back with punishment.
That's it, and the big part of this laning phase is that you have to kind of be hitting minions to be successful as the Aurelia. And anytime you try and Q to a minion, you'll get punished, right, by Ryze throwing skill shots. It's a tier user. Just quickly going through this replay, I mean, it's quite simply a Leona throws the hook. Nobody has to flash because the hook from Vixper misses. And it is just going to be a 1-for-1 trade. But Herald secured objective in hand, ready to place. These mid-fights are starting to swing, though, Skimmy.
Yeah.
Pretty successfully for Dajong most of the time now, which is huge.
It's a worrying fall, no doubt about it, right? This Ryze is winning early, going to be a big deal to deal with later on in this game. But also is this Leona. I mean, we've seen a handful of games, dates back a few weeks, and we were saying we wanted to see more. He's certainly given us more. Now we're seeing it be a mainstay in his arsenal. 5 games. Maybe another kill in the mid lane there, but Dejong just got enough space to work with.
I wonder if Kevy waits for the Luden's proc to consider ulting. I don't think he will, but it was certainly possible. Luden's just that little bit of extra damage could have been enough. Ryze current items has actually just completed the Everfrost, so he'll be a lot safer from now on. Wondering if he went for plated steel caps, I believe. There is so much stun on the enemy team that I can't help but feel like plated steel caps is a bit rough. Like, I know that Aurelia is auto attack based and it reduces basic attacks, but like Leona, nah, Aurelia's got stuns, Aphelios has purple weapons. You wouldn't hate a Merc Treads for a close to mid-range champion, right?
Let's see what it looks like. What happens when you have no tenacity? The root goes out, the Solar Flare is there, and you're just dead. It's a shutdown. Kisei's back in the mix. As can they answer back? They certainly can. Pickup finds a shutdown, but not before Kevy gets another kill. 4-1 and 2. Down goes the Requiem, but nobody survives.
Ooh.
They're both so low, Rusty. Nobody's going to pick up some fruit from the river. He is A-okay.
So much damage came out of the ultimate there from Kevy, but also a cheeky skittle after it completely deters Piglet. Almost takes him down. Just watch the crowd control. The second it hits, right? First piece of CC connects, Aurelia follows, Leona ults, Leona Qs, dead during that duration. And yes, you do trade. It's a shutdown, so you have to give credit to Gravitas for always being at the location the fight's taking place. But now you're stuck fighting on top of the Karthus that you got the shutdown on, so that's probably just a disengage angle. Still really close from Piglet to get a kill back.
You can see he was so keen to push forward, but as soon as that stray skittle connects, he goes, maybe not anymore.
Yeah.
No need to try and turn on the montage moments just yet. But Order, quietly achieving. They have been achieving for the majority of this game, but it hasn't been without Gravitas answering back. That is now their second Drake, but Gravitas are only down 1,000 in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, it's a very odd game for us as commentators, and I'm sure for viewers as well, because it feels like Order are just in control. But every time Order makes a play, Gravitas have been there, right? They've had their measure. They've been doing honestly quite well at matching it. Mid lane has been the biggest point to celebrate, but not as much now.
That was pretty nice from Kisei. Sidesteps the Everfrost and nearly had all-in potential there.
And he has sustain where the Ryze only has the corrupting potion, so it is probably a case of reset from Dajong, which is why the Herald gets summoned here. No teleport for the Rise either. And I don't think nobody has the tools to contest Kisei. It could just be a death suffered by the Trundle if he's not too careful. I don't think Aurelia could all in, to be honest. But...
Very difficult, given nobody has literally everything up and active, so would have been maybe an ego check that he's not really willing to take, but regardless, Herald will go out, plate's already gone, so it's just permanent damage onto the turret, which is now down to roughly 30%. Still waiting for that first turret to fall.
So if you think back to about a minute ago, Skimmy, nobody was doing the blue buff with Gromp. He actually stopped doing blue to hit Gromp, and then mid had a skirmish, and he's a good jungler. And you can take note of why, for everyone at home, is because he stopped hitting the blue buff and he gave it to his mid laner after the reset. For the side of Gravitas, I feel like your life revolves around Dajung, and if he took that blue, he's probably just a sinner. I say probably like it's not actually.
I mean, he really is, in actuality, isn't it? It certainly has been the Dajung versus the World show, hence the pre-game, hence the performance he's putting out here so far. See if he can continue that rate of acceleration, because it has been a very quiet game topside, as is the life of a bruiser. But Tyrant is keeping things close.
Gangplank also in a quiet lane does get a bit of extra gold for himself overall, so you wouldn't be complaining too much if you were Tyrant. I think the Biopanther is pretty happy that his lane hasn't gone negatively. Hold that.
Hold that indeed. Onto Nobody, who is very tanky right now. Football forced to flash away, but then receives a flash chomp to the face. That's now him on a rampage. Gonna die to the Skittle as Kevy fades away, does not look back because he is far too cool for that. And Expert is gonna give Kisei his 4th death of the game.
Puma being here should be enough to deter.
Ooh.
Cheeky crit. Should be enough to deter Gravitas from continuing to push forwards. I don't think Puma wants to get hooked by a Nautilus though, because he probably still dies. But overall, it is just going to be a fizzle out. Still, extra kills going the way of Gravitas. More reasons to celebrate time and again. Corporal gets pillared off, gets caught out of position, has a pocket Kevy nearby. The Kisei is dealing with the Nautilus, dealing with the Rise that are just locking him in place. And sooner or later, he is going to fall.
Certainly is Dajung. He's gone. No CC. That might be the easiest realm warp get out of jail free card you'll ever see.
Yeah, and does that mean a teleport is wasted, I guess, is the question here, right? Rift Herald is on the cards. No Drake for a minute 30. And Aurelia is matching top lane to answer that teleport. And Tyrant has teleport advantage. There is definitely situations here you would say that's super valuable for the side of Gravitas.
Guess he wants this. Oh, fantastic flash. He was in a world of trouble if he hadn't gone.
That's the price that Tyrant pays for getting a demolished block though, Skimmy. Price is high. At least it's not the iron price.
Here's it. Wall of Death's just out of rage. Massive Gnar ult from Biopanther, and that guarantees that nobody has gone now. Down to 30. There's the second. This time Order coming together as a 5-man squad and getting it done.
And somehow Order make a play mid lane while also just getting a flash out of top lane simultaneously. Gravitas will lose 2 members. That means that the Rift Herald is not even going to be in consideration. That means the Dragon should just be theirs if Aurelia is choosing to stay top lane. Now that the teleport has been matched by Tyrant, so really no advantages exist for the side of Gravitas. And look, credit where it's due, they held it to 1,000 gold, but it's now 3.
Snowball effect starting to come into play here. And obviously going to reiterate rather the point of, you know, Sol AP coming from this car first. Well, 6-1 and 2 is certainly going to give it to you. 2 items complete, Luins and the Shadow Flame burning through all that mitigation. There is a small hope in me, as you mentioned before, about this kind of more Sonic U-esque style of Carcass. He just locks in the Axiom arc, and he's just hitting that R button off CD.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll get
Surely.
the Axiom arc. It's a little bit much. But you know what? Kevy could do it. You know one other thing as well, top lane being even in farm, usually I'd say it's odd because it's isolated and Gangplank might be able to control that 1v1, at least that's how that works in my head. Gangplank will have extra gold, as we mentioned. Ezreal also has really cheap item spikes, with the Manamune being easy and quick to upgrade as Dajung.
Yeah, Fire's just slapping him something chronic at the moment, forcing Dajung to waddle away. Activity they go, but now in the side lane, self-advantage is not looking too pretty.
I guess the main big takeaway is that the Ezreal is going to have solid item spike timings. Potentially has the 2 items. Oh god.
Here we go, Hex Flash. Yes, you love to see it. You're locked in place. There's the CC. Let's just fight in the Cannon Barrage. Why not? Mitigate it all. We got the resistances and we've got the moves. And Kisei is molding because Corp will pick that one up with Ignite.
Yeah, Kisei holds Ignite, and we'll definitely have a slight tinge of the mold. Just because Corporal gets down, but it's a free kill. It's a nice roam, nice map move actually from Corporal to lane gank top lane. Very unexpected, but had a window. Needs to respect nobody here still. If there's one thing Corporal will have learned so far, Skimmy, it is that this Trundle will go for him at all costs. Even if the cost is the team fight. There's a Karthus ult.
Really is. That might be the economy one we're talking about. Needs another ward, so there's some money in the back pocket. How do you do? Just delaying the inevitable as well. Well, I should say the inevitable.
I said he wait for Tyrant to respawn.
Guarantees them health advantage on this mid wave to take down what will be their 3rd turret. All the adders will now be gone. Piglet might just be dying. And Spimmer says, I'll take the turret, I'll take you too.
Threatening the Hex Flash there on Vision as well was Corporal just on the top side flank. And it is just going to be a free outer turret as well in mid lane as top. So the map completely open for the side of Order. As it stands, the 4,000 gold doesn't really reflect too much on the game state. Actually feels bigger than 4,000 is probably what I would say. It feels like in general, right? Like a 6-1 Karthus running around. Biopanther's just been tearing up anyone in his lane at the moment, including Dajong, who's not really playing to hard carry this one. Gravitas, we're going to start to need something from them, right? We're going to have to start seeing something just a little bit extra for us to have hope for the rest of this game.
Whether or not this game reaches the point in time where double TP becomes relevant for them to try and play the map, to try and split apart Order. Farming up these side waves, they're contending with their individual battles. They are playing a very dicey game. Spot things out on towards Kiss, so he could be in trouble here. He does have Flash available. Pillar goes out. That should guarantee that the hook is there too, but he turns around and says, it's my time to shine. Gonna get locked in place with a depth charge and then try to mitigate everything he can with a W. But in a 1v3, Giz gets chomped and destroyed.
I mean, honestly, I don't even want to VOD review that one from Kisei. He tried to flash R, maybe to hit all 3 of them perhaps, but just kind of flashed into the wall. Piglet with a really nice essence shift there. He'll be alright. Mid lane Leona ultimate going to be down, but yeah, that pick in top lane was really well done from Gravitas. It was free. Just seeing the highest order of skill check possible, I feel like, from the mid laner of Order.
Great invitation now for Gravitas. 2 towers taken down with that pick, so opportunity cost has worked out certainly in their favour. He's going to shrink that gold lead down to 2,000 now. Scary part is though, Rusty, 3 Drakes picked up here back-to-back by Order. Soul point up in a minute.
Yeah, again, exactly. It doesn't feel like it's only 2,000 now, right? Like another great pick from Gravitas, another good small series of plays overall for the side. But still doesn't feel like they have control. If you've got 45 seconds till this Drake is up, look at the vision that Order have on red side jungle. Perhaps that's one of the reasons that Kisei was overextended, right? If Order were placing this vision. He is not the teleporting member of the team, however, now, so he will be protected by the wards that are down as Order will start to move through the jungle. Biopanther with teleport ready can choose if he wants to group up or if he wants to teleport in. It's a lot easier to group up, by the way, as Nah, because you can control your Mega. If you're split pushing as Nah, you actually have to stop hitting minions at a certain point, and then you're not even split pushing if you're not careful.
He's got it close, primed and ready to go. You can see the minibar form there. He is waiting for action. Ready to pounce. Deathblade goes out. Not going to connect. Nobody wants to target, but here's the Solar Flare. An instant flash away from Deja. And now going to be fighting on a Cannon Barrage, which is only affecting their own teammates. Huge blunder. And now surely their tools to try and contest this Drake have gone.
Yeah, they're just going to look towards the mid lane outer turret, it feels like. Maybe get some vision control around Baron before reset. Depends how Order chooses to play this one out. Drake will be secured. The fact that it is only a Cloud Soul, perhaps in the minds of Gravitas, helps them rationalize that one is a lot easier to take. But now we also have to take note of with emphasis that an Elder Drake will be up in 5 minutes and 40 seconds. And that is terrifying for both teams, but if Order retain control of the map, very difficult for Gravitas to deal with 2 objectives that are worth contesting at once. A lot of trouble.
Here we go, they're in for the count, they've caught a rise, he's going to try and hit that realm wall, but is there enough CC? Well, it's just enough damage.
So the Rise Realm Warp did go off, but it was nobody that took it while Dajun was dead. There's an interesting little buffer, I suppose, of what happens after death there with the Realm Warp. Nobody, no shot. He's just going to skitter away towards the rest of his team. Biopanther just going to happily deal with 3 of them. So close to Mega himself. Kevy just says, how do you do? That's my death cap.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? 2 rods in hand.
Money.
Thank you. Rabadon's complete. 10 stacks on the seal. You can take a turret. There's an objective bounty, but we've got the major objectives in this game. And yeah, I don't know. I've never seen a game that's felt so close from the scoreboard stand of things, with gold at least, to in actuality what we're seeing on our screens.
There is a 90 CS difference between junglers. I feel like if you are attacking Gravitas right now, and you ask the question, what is the weak point? I feel like it's quite obviously the person who's playing off-role, learning the jungle limited champion pool against an experienced veteran jungler.
Oh. Okay. The cursed wall continues to bless us. But yeah, you raise a solid point, right? It's always going to be a very tough matchup. That's what we highlighted. It's what we expected. I think anything other then this outcome would have been a huge shock.
Yeah, it's just a decision from Kevy that I like, right? Like, he wants a carry jungler, he wants a farm jungler. That's a distinct advantage for Order in this 5v5, so they're exploiting it as best they can. But very sufficient in a 2v2. So is Biopanther. It's one of his strongest suits as a player of League of Legends, is knowing how to 1v1. And now they're just going to group mid and bottom. Inner turret should be the prime focus.
Looking for Corporal. They didn't catch him cleanly, but it doesn't matter because he turns it around and just hits Vixter with a bit of pain and punishment. A bit of a taste of his own medicine. No, Vigil's going to go out, but the damage has already been done. The members have already fallen. Tyrant is dead for 48 seconds now. They've got to deal with a Baron push for another whole minute in a 3v5. And Kisley says, we're not waiting for that one. It's no tutorial League of Legends here on Offit. We want that ace. It might elude us unless Puma tries to have a hero moment. Ooh, it's close.
He finds one, but he also found exhaust on his head to deter him from getting the second Order. However, looking to end the game right here and now.
28 minutes in, and Order want to make sure that this is done and dusted. Gravitas on the cusp of elimination, unless they can do anything miraculous now to defend this open base. It will not matter. Requiem will secure the deal, and GG to Order.
And I mean, at the end of the day, right, to wrap this game up, it never felt like Order were losing. It felt like Order weren't playing perfect League of Legends, but they don't need to, right? Just a couple of overextensions that Gravitas picked up on, a couple of punishes, but they were already winning the 2v2s, right? It was really just trading back. And so at any moment that they were winning, Gravitas did all they could to just try and keep as close to even as possible. But at the end of the day, one team has a Karthus, one team scaling out of control with that Karthus. And now it's just, I think it's done for Gravitas officially on the back of that game, with Order taking them down.
Certainly have. So, commiserations to Gravitas. Obviously, no doubt they've showcased a handful of new emerging talent. There's been some interesting narratives to flow some plays to keep your eyes on, no doubt. But now it begs the question of, with that weight off their shoulders, Mac, no longer needing to try and upset all these teams and try and force their way into playoffs, you know, unshackled, surely we're going to see some very wild drafts coming out from them next time.
Well, that's it, right? Like, now they can't officially make playoffs any longer. They can tie with Direwolves, but Direwolves already have that head-to-head. So the best they can come is tied 5th, but not make it any further than that. So, look, congrats for making it this far. Congrats for showing what you're made of. And this is the scary point. Now, they can play for fun. They can just have a good time on the Rift. They can do whatever they want, right? Going into their next couple of games, into the next couple of weeks. So if you hadn't already seen enough experimentation from them, maybe we get to see just a little bit more. You know, get a couple of players with some play time, maybe some other players on their roster getting a little bit of rift time there too. But look, Order, I wouldn't say you can't fault them, but look, as you mentioned, Rusty, Kevy was just absolutely popping off, scaling out of control from the get-go, just dishing damage everywhere, and then look, by the time it got to about that 15-minute mark, he was just already so big that it didn't really matter if he was like in these fights or dead in these fights, because he still have an impact because he's a damn carcass. So I feel like Gravitas, they just need to go back, rethink that draft, and even then, it's still difficult. Like, execution-wise, it looked alright. I'm looking at the kills on the scoreboard, and there was a point where it was pretty even, but then you're looking at the gold difference, it's still about 10k in Order's favour. So they were never really worried. It was just a matter of when they decided they wanted to strike. You can have a look at the gold difference on the graph there. At just before that 30-minute mark, it just goes out of damn control. I believe that was around the Baron fight, right, Rusty?
Yeah, it would have been around the Baron fight where everything just went right for them. Objectives secured, a million turrets start to fall as well, and the game just explodes completely out. No shot really for Gravitas from that point onwards. But yeah, I think the first point that you touched on there, Mac, just towards draft a little bit as well. I'm not a fan of what Gravitas put together. I like if you're going to go for the Rise and say a Trundle that's a winning 2v2, or like a Jungler that's a winning 2v2. I would wish that my AD and support was like a Jinx Lulu, right? Or was like something that is going to be super divey and aggressive. And I just don't see that as much from the Ezreal Nautilus type of lane. And perhaps that was picking Ezreal third with no Karma available. Karma gets banned and the strategy's out the window. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but Gravitas, I'm not very happy with their draft personally.
Yeah, it's an iffy one. And look, Skimmy, I'm looking at the builds. Anything odd here, or is everything sort of just by the book and maybe not what they needed to do going into a comp like Orders?
Yeah, I mean, it all checks out for me. I don't think there's much deviation for the most part. Maybe a few minor tweaks here and there, but I think they really put themselves into an idea of we have to try and beat them in these major skirmishes around the Drakes or the Barons, for instance.
Yeah.
We saw that one fight into the Drake pit where they cannon barraged on their own heads, and it was just kind of like, well, now you're just trading turrets, and ultimately, one team's getting this huge soul point. You're getting a mid-tier one at like 25 minutes into the game. So it was a rough trade, but I mean that's kind of what we expected, right? We expected all to come into this one and pound for pound
pretty
to be better.
Expected, and I expect that Kitty's going to be joining us right now too. So Kitty, who do you have for the post game?
Hello, I've grabbed the Gnar Biopanther from last game for tonight's interview, so let's get into it. Hello, Bio, how are you feeling after knocking out Gravitas from playoffs? Well, not playoffs, from playoffs potential.
I'm feeling good. I feel like just any win now is just a huge morale boost for the team. So I'm just really proud of my team for like working as hard as they are, and like we got like a really cleanish game from us. So like I think we're just like gonna skyrocket from here.
And talking about cleanish, we did see the young player Kise doing a lot of limit testing that game on the Aurelia. As the leader, I suppose, of the team, how did you communicate in comms to stop Kise from going on a rampage?
Well, I just have to make sure that like when we go into objectives, we're just like, we're playing for the objective. You can go for solo kills, you can go for any death, any kill you want, but when an objective spawns, just play for the objective, and that's all that matters. So for me, that's like my stance of the game. Like I don't care if he mechanics max and like it doesn't work, but like I like that he's willing to take risks and go for it for plays like that. But if it like devastates like the game state, that's when like I'm like, yeah, just hold back a little bit and then play the game properly.
That makes a lot of sense because throughout the game, we actually saw the scoreline pretty even throughout the game. But the objective priority was always to Order. But let's talk about Gnar. So Gnar has been really popular in competitive right now, being built with the Hullbreaker, but I believe it got nerfed. I don't know if it's been nerfed in the current patch for LCO just quite yet. But we saw you building the Triforce with Black Cleaver. So why is Gnar such a popular champion in compet?
Well, right now, like most of his matchups are skill matchups or like very easy matchups, which he can kind of survive because it's just the early game that he needs to get through. And Triforce with the new buff, like he has one of the highest base 80s in the game once he turns into Mega, so it does like 240, 50 per auto, and it's really crazy like amounts of damage. So for him, like, once he gets the Triforce, he kind of just one-shots. So it's like, the items are good for him, the matchups are like, you can, if you're a better player, you can kind of like skill gap, and like he's a very safe blind, so that's why he's kind of like popping up more.
And speaking about Gnar, can we get your best Gnar impression, since we did see Winter do a mini Gnar impression?
Nah, kinda. I guess that's probably my best one.
That was really cute. Well, hopefully everyone thought that was really cute as well. Well, have a good night's rest for tomorrow's game. Bye and see you tomorrow.
Alright, see you tomorrow. Thank you.
I loved it the first time, and I'm loving it the second time as well. That was great, Bio. Very proud that you did that. Thanks, Kitty, for setting that one up. Very good, very good. Now, of course, we've got to talk about a few things before we go to the break, and we got the Dare MVP. So I feel like there's no real surprises. There was one man that popped off there into the server, so I'm not going to ask. I'm just going to put him on the screen. It was the big man in the jungle, rumbling up a storm on the Karthus, 7-1-4. Big man Kevy taking the Dare Us Coffee, most valuable player, 33% damage share. And look, he only died that one time as well. But when he did, he made it count. There was a whole bloody team fight on his corpse, right?
Yeah, he did well. I mean, full credit to Kevy, did his job perfectly as the Karthus, received 2 bans towards him as well on the magic damage junglers, but found the third. Was the scaling, was the win condition for Order, and you better believe he helped them get across the line and get that dub. So fair play to the Karthus. Sometimes you just got to put your head down and path correctly, and here we are.
And look, 68% KP's not that terrible. I believe there was a whole lot of little skirmishing earlier on in the game as well. So lots of 2v2s, as you mentioned during the cast. So that's why the KP looks not as high as you'd expect from a jungler, from the big man Kevy, who I guess most of the time he's playing those sort of ganky, aggressive sort of style champions. But today, of course, the Karthus, it's not that. You don't gank like crazy like a Karthus, right? So look, before we go to the break, make sure you follow at LCO on the Twitter sphere. Make sure you go and you like all the tweets, and make sure you just follow him, because if you use the hashtag LCO, you're going to be involved in the conversation, and you won't miss any of the memes, you won't miss any of the updates, and you'll know when we're going live. You won't turn up on Wednesday this week when it's not a super week. You'll know which days we're bloody on broadcast, all right? So look, that's it for game number 1. We got a second to get to. That one was pretty long considering, and we'll see if this second one is just as long or a little bit of a speed run. It is Chiefs, it is Mammoth, looking to go head-to-head just after the break.
For a close to mid-range champion, right?
Let's see what it looks like. What happens when you have no tenacity? The root goes out, the Solar Flare is there, you're just dead. It's a shutdown. Kissing's back in the mix. As can they answer back? They certainly can. Pickup finds a shutdown, but not before Kevy gets another kill. 4-1 and 2. Down goes direct.
This is not the iron price.
Here's it. Wall of Death just out of rage. Massive Gnar ult from Bio Panther, and that guarantees that nobody has gone now. Down to 30.